My alarm caught out this guy walking down my driveway.
You are under surveillance.
I decided to chase after him to figure out what he was up to.
Look at these vegans. I've seen her on TikTok. I mean, you need to have more meat. You're looking a bit washed out.
I eat plenty of vegan meat.
Vegan meat? That's like saying I have plenty of black whites.
Excuse me? What are you doing walking down my driveway?
With my dog, I'll do whatever I like.
You cannot murder an animal.
By definition, murder is taking someone's life, whether they're
someone's
a human.
life.
Well, non-human animals are someone.
All right, will you marry a donkey?
Are you that pathetic vegan activist?
Oh, okay. Is that why you came
not.
down my driveway?
No, I just saw that there's not. Your number plate was gone, says vegan booty.
Wait, what is that? Is that a little pig? It's Wilbur. You don't have to name it Wilbur. I just named it that.
Can I hold it? So why did you walk down my
Because I
driveway?
wanted to see if you got the front number plate taken too. That's why. Just checking it out.
Hey, what's good, guys? Well, we're talking about Tash Peterson again. There's quite a few little shorts we're going to be addressing, so we got quite the variety of content. There's the guy that shows up at her house and tries to look at her license plate, which was an innocent activity, but of course she thinks she's being attacked, so she always has to be a victim, obviously. I understand she's a little bit on edge, considering there have been a plethora of people showing up at her house. You don't know what I'm talking about? Go watch my last couple of videos on her and you'll be well acquainted shortly. And then we have her complaining about this celebrity, I think, I'm not sure who she is, having a little piglet with her, a very cute little piglet. Of course, that's going to be a problem. And then she gets owned by some people on the street while doing her outreach or whatever she calls it, her fake activism. There's just a lot. There's a lot. Oh, and this one's great. This one's great too. We're going to talk about a little bit about how she was accused of only donating $100 of the $400,000 she made in a single year from her OnlyFans and other social media accounts. Only donating $100 to animal welfare. Wow, what a respectable activist Tash Peterson is, right? When everything's about protecting and saving the animals, that's her whole identity. Her defense in court, when they brought this up, you know, with the whole defamation lawsuit, she said, oh, I don't use any of this for my own personal benefit. I do this purely for the animals, which is crazy. Then where's all that money? Where's that $400,000 going, Tash Peterson? Didn't go to animals. Interesting. But we'll get to that. Where we're gonna start is here. Don't worry, if you can't read fluent vegan propaganda bullshit, I've got you covered. So what she is saying here, propaganda I'm not falling for. Vegan meat is unhealthy. Animals aren't people. Farmers love their animals. You can love animals and eat them. Plants feel pain. Vegans kill more animals. Excuse me, but where's the propaganda? I haven't been able to find any at all, actually. Every single one of these statements is true, except for potentially the last one, but we're gonna go over the details of that one in a moment. But let's break these down. Vegan meat is unhealthy. Yeah, a lot of vegan meat is made with lots of crazy processed chemicals on top of lots and lots of sodium. Compared to a nice, healthy, not overly processed burger, yeah, vegan meat's pretty unhealthy next to it. That goes without saying. Animals aren't people. Well, do I really have to explain this one to you? I mean, as you guys will see in a moment, she uses that animals are people argument against that guy in the little debate, and he's like, well, would you marry a donkey? And she just cuts it off there, because no, she wouldn't. Well, why not? A donkey's a person, according to you. Now, a lot of people have made this crazy accusation towards people like Tash Peterson, suggesting that the reason why they try to humanize animals so much is because they want the right to steam some ham, not cook it. If you know, you know. And I'm starting to think that's not too far off with how much they try to push this animals are people thing, which no, if that was the case, well, there are some very dangerous and unsettling implications that would in fact come along with that. Farmers love their animals, true, a lot of farmers do. Yeah, a lot of farmers also use their animals for food because they recognize how things work in this world, and that farm animals in particular have been bred to supply food and nourishment for human beings. And what that means is that they're going to treat their animals with respect and care, and when they do become food for them, that they're going to be very merciful and do things in the least stressful way possible for them. You can love animals and eat them. So she basically is claiming that 99% of the world, because only about 1% of the world is vegan, doesn't love animals because we eat them or some products that come from them. That's just stupid. I'm just gonna save my breath on this one. I'm not even willing to address it. Plants feel pain, they do. They feel their own type of pain. Just how animals feel their own type of pain. Now, obviously, sentient animals like a cow or a chicken feel pain much more similarly to how we do. But certain fish and other things like that feel pain in their own different way, especially like lobsters, crabs, and you guys are like, well, no, they're suffering, they feel pain, so therefore you shouldn't eat them. Well, they feel in a different way, just like how plants do, so what's the point here? Now, vegans kill more animals. Now, this one's hard to really address, but it is true that like all vegan food will come at the expense of thousands and millions of animals that are, you know, rehomed, relocated, destroyed in farming practices and stuff like that, as opposed to, you know, a person only eating, you know, a couple of cows in total a year or something, you know, or something along those lines. Plus, obviously, they're gonna benefit from the fruits and vegetables unless, you know, they're on a carnivore diet. But then you also have to consider like the billions of bees, because each individual bee counts as a sentient creature that vegans contribute to killing in mass for things like avocados and almonds and tons of other vegan foods. Now let's move on.
My alarm called out this guy walking down my driveway.
You are under surveillance.
I decided to chase after him to figure out what he was up to.
You are under surveillance.
Excuse me? What are you doing walking down my driveway?
With my dog, I'll do whatever I like.
What did you do on my property? Why did
Just
you go
having
down
a
my
look,
driveway?
Having a look. Are you that pathetic vegan activist?
Oh, okay. Is that why
I'm
you came
not-
down my driveway?
No, I just saw that there's not. Your number plate was gone. Says vegan booty.
Yeah, so you come and
I
trespass on my property.
I couldn't care less.
Why did you go down my
Because
driveway?
I wanted to.
Because
Try
you
and
wanted
stop me.
to what?
Yeah, try and stop me. I went down your driveway.
Yeah,
Big
so you're
deal.
trying to find me.
No, because I couldn't care less what you do. There
So
you go.
why did you walk down my
Because I
driveway?
wanted to see if you got the front number plate taken too. That's why. You stupid cow.
You know what's funny? Brother here doesn't even know it, but he actually just called her the most accurate insult ever, because A, she's stupid, and B, she always dresses like a cow. Like, that's literally her thing. It's actually so funny, so befitting. Stupid cow. Very, very befitting insult. Anyway, she's correct about one thing, kind of, that he is technically trespassing because he is on her private property. Now, obviously, this wouldn't hold up in court because he wasn't doing anything illegal and he wasn't there for some prolonged period of time and told to leave. And like, there's more to trespass than just being on the property, especially if you don't have a sign that explicitly says like no trespassing. Like, there has to be more to it than just stepping into her driveway for a quick second, looking at her license plate and walking away. Nothing about that is considered illegal or nefarious. Now, what he was doing here really was just looking at his license plate. You can actually see it from the footage that he looks at her license plate and then he walks and looks at the back one too. So obviously this man was telling the truth. He was just curious, like, what if the other side says vegan booty too? And then he continues on with his day. Well, tries to, but this fucking assassin, Tosh Peterson, comes sprinting out of the house, screaming at this dude, "What are you doing in my driveway?" and all this. Like, brother, I understand she's a little scared right now, a little skittish, a little on edge because people keep showing up at her house. But now she's villainizing everyone, and it's probably because the police told her, hey, we're not gonna help you. Like, you're on your own. So she's like extra cautious. No, I told you guys. If you haven't seen that video where I talk about how she's in danger, this is what I'm talking about. Even somebody that isn't a threat to her is enough to freak her out. And you can hear in her voice is really shaky. She sounds panicked when addressing this guy. And the truth is, it's because she's scared. She's scared of people coming to her house with the intention of doing her harm. She didn't know what this guy was doing, but once she hears about the license plate thing, and she kind of just lets it go at that point. She's like, okay, well, obviously this guy's no threat to me, but she did come at him like some belligerent lunatic. I mean, the dude was already walking away, leaving, and clearly he didn't do anything beyond just look at the car. And people do that sort of thing all the time. Like, if you have a really nice looking cool car in your driveway, sometimes people stop and just like look at it and then move on with their lives. It's really not that harmful of a thing to do. It's really not that scary. But people have struck the fear of God into Tosh Peterson's heart. She is terrified in her own home. And while that's not inherently a great thing for somebody to be terrified, feeling unsafe in their own home, but you gotta remember, she did this to herself. She created her enemies. They didn't just start showing up for no reason. She created these people, these enemies. And while I do wish that for none of them to do any harm to her, this is her just desserts, because what these people are doing to her, not this guy in particular, but people that are showing up to her house that have been doing it, it's no different to what she's done with her activism of going into private establishments. Private is the key word here. Private businesses owned by somebody, which is effectively their house. Yes, their house is constantly like having a party where they're cooking food and stuff for people or selling things, but this is effectively like their house, their business, their private place where, yes, they allow people in, they allow the public in, but it's still theirs at the end of the day, and they have operations to do, they have money to make, that's their livelihood, and then you show up and disrupt it, and then when they tell you to leave, you refuse to do so, you're trespassing and you're a fucking asshole. If you don't like the taste of your medicine, why the hell were you feeding it to other people?
Look at these vegans. I've seen her on TikTok. Have you? You need to have more meat. You're looking a bit washed out.
I eat plenty of vegan meat.
Vegan meat? That's like saying I have plenty of black whites. I've got loads of nighttime days.
Do you know what meat is?
It's the rotting carcass of a living animal, and it's delicious because God told us to eat meat.
Did God tell you to murder animals?
No, murder is a legal term. You cannot murder an animal.
By definition, murder is taking someone's life, whether they're
someone's life.
Well, non-human animals are someone.
All right, will you marry a donkey?
Yo, I really want to know the answer to this question. If any of you guys know where this full interview is, please link it to me. I need to see it. But anyway, it's such a good question to ask this fucking lunatic. If a animal is a person, could you have a relationship with them? Would you go out and date a cow? Like, obviously it's more of a joke, hypothetical kind of question. It's not a very serious one, but there's a billion logical, scientific, obvious reasons really why you cannot call animals people. People is reserved for us, humans. It's one of the ways we differentiate ourselves from animals. Now, I'll just give you a quick differentiating factor. Sapiens, sentience. Humans are sapient. Vast majority of animals are not. Sapiens is effectively just a much greater level of sentience. Until cows and chickens and cats start paying taxes and start working 9 to 5s, we will never consider them people. Sorry, they just don't have the same capacity as us, and you trying to convince yourself of that is just sad and pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that this is the route that you take to try to promote veganism, to try to convince people that animals are exactly the same as us, when you know damn well if you're driving down the street and you run over a possum, you're not going to go call the police and say that you murdered someone. You're going to keep driving. You might get out and pretend that you care that you killed the possum, but you're not going to report yourself to the authorities. You're not going to go spend the rest of your life in jail. You're just going to move on, and you're going to forget about that possum because to you they're insignificant. If that was a child instead, well, you'd be walking away from the scene in handcuffs.
Wait, what is that? Is that a little pig? It's Wilbur. You don't have to name it Wilbur. I just named it that. Can I hold it?
People in the comment section of this video are upset by the fact that this piglet is clearly terrified and being used as a prop. However, these very people likely eat pigs and other animals who are literally forced into gas chambers when they're 6 months old. Stop the hypocrisy by living vegan.
So I went and found the original video of this, and honestly, it seems like she really dug for these few comments complaining about, animal abuse or whatever, that the pig is shaking. I went and looked at comments. Most people were actually saying something contrary to this. They were actually saying it was wrong because they looked like they drugged the pig so that it would be really still for the pictures. So like, which one is it? Is the pig shaking? Is it really still? Is it drugged? Like, which form of animal is this? Now, I have a couple things to say about this. One, I personally feel like the pig is quite still. I don't really see a whole lot of shaking, if any at all. So there's no telling if the pig is truly scared or not. I feel like there's so much information missing and people are just drawing whatever conclusion they want to based on their own bias. And it's either it's abuse because the pig is shaking and scared, or it's abuse because the pig is drugged, or it's abuse because the pig is being used as a prop. Now, what I'm confused by is why is this such a problem when it's a pig? When people like Tash Peterson say that a pig is just as intelligent as our cats and dogs, if not more intelligent, and they're okay with dogs and whatever the hell being pets because Tash Peterson has a pet dog that she literally was seen having pull her on a skateboard that she was using as a commodity, as she was using as an accessory for her own benefit. But if a pig is used in the same way as a pet, as, you know, like oh, look at my cute pig, it's a problem. Why? I'm really perplexed by this. It's very confusing to me. However, if this woman was just holding a dog, like a little Yorkie or something, not a single person would bat an eye. Why is it that when it's a pig, everybody loses their shit? I'm very confused by that. Shouldn't you be happy that Wilbur here is not gonna end up on my plate as bacon? Like, isn't that better? Or no, is this somehow worse? It's very, very confusing. Like, come on, guys. Which one is it? Help us understand what is animal abuse and what isn't. Because loving the pig here apparently is wrong too. Eating the pig also wrong. So what do you want us to do? I know what the answer is. And they've said it before. Leave animals the fuck alone. Well, why don't you lead by example, Tash? Let your dog out. Go let your dog out. Go let your dog roam free because you're enslaving it, you piece of shit. Now, obviously, I don't actually want her to do that because dogs are very dependent on humans and there's a lot of predators out there that would probably eat her little pooch. So maybe don't do that, Tash. What's crazy is that she also complains about people eating animals when this video had nothing to do with that at all. It's a pig being loved by somebody, at least from what we can see. We don't know the full story. I'm just gonna treat it as such. Treat it as what it looks like. But it's like there's no winning with these vegans. There's no way to satisfy them in any way, shape, or form. I could bet you right now, everybody in the world can decide to go vegan and they'll still find a way to say that it's not enough and still be pissed off. Okay, so this is the Cash Peterson video that she made flexing $20,000 apparently. She then alludes to potentially donating it, even though this was after she got caught red-handed and having to present her bank statements showing that she didn't donate really any of the money that she made. So I'm just gonna read what she put here. I was in court facing a defamation lawsuit for my advocacy for non-human animals. The plaintiff, by the way, advocacy for non-human animals was defaming a veterinary clinic. Yeah. Sure, that's what you were doing. The plaintiff's lawyer argued I do animal rights activism for profit, so the court demanded my financial records from the past 3 years. My activism is solely for the victims of the animal holocaust. Okay, so then where did that $400,000 go? During the trial, their lawyer cherry-picked a brief period of bank statements during the early years of my activism, she's lying, to imply I don't donate much. The West then published on the front cover newspaper titled Cash Peterson and wrote that my bank statements had shown I'd only donate $100 to animal charities. This is simply untrue. Yeah, no, I'm sure your bank statements don't lie. I'm sure you would have kept your receipts if you had done any other type of donation that didn't come from your bank account, I guess. And then you would have had that to present, but you didn't. And you know why you didn't? Because you don't donate money to animals. You don't give a fuck about animals at all, and you never did. She's an absolute fraud, and she is a humongous lying piece of shit.